All right, everybody. Happy Friday. Big waves to you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Now, if you didn't come on the Coach's Corner early this morning, you missed out because we were talking about, well, I won't even go into it because it'll take up too much time. But I got to say it. Think back to your childhood when you were in school. And I said, are you a one or a two? A one being you were the perfect student that never got in trouble, never got sent to the principal's office. Or were you a two? One that found yourself. No, maybe I said it the opposite way. Anyway, yes, it doesn't matter. Were you a two that was like always found yourself somehow in trouble? And I said, I identified as a one, as the perfect model student, but somehow I found myself in the two category a lot, right? Sitting around the room going, what happened? How did I get in here? Um, so anyway, we had a little laugh this morning. Good to see everybody. The word for this Friday is moot. Moot. If you look at the definition of moot, it's subject to debate, dispute, uncertainty, and typically not admitting of a final decision. Having no practical significance or relevance. I read that and I'm like, that's blah. Here's what moot is. It is the way it is, okay? And I got to thinking about this word and you go, Brent, where are you going with this morning? Well, have you ever heard of it's just a moot point? Have you ever heard that before? Have you ever been at a ball game? You're watching a ball game, maybe for sports enthusiasts out there. And like it's the second quarter, and it's not going good. Like you're down 3 scores. And you start thinking of all this, oh my goodness, here we go again. We're going to lose. And you consider it a moot point, like it's over, but then there's game left to play. And so the team ends up winning that in the second quarter. My dad's the world's worst. I love him to death, but he's the world's worst. It's like the first play of the game. And he's like, we're going to lose. I'm like, Dad, we got 4 quarters to go. This is just 2 minutes in. Like, let's be a little positive here. Let's be a little more optimistic. So that's why as a coach, I can't sit in the stands. I had to go sit on the fence because they might drive me into a little nuts in the stands. But moot is something, here's where I brought this for today. And I want you to think about your own life. So many times, and I'm talking to myself, I want to act like, does these things come up? Well, I'm just too old. Well, my body aches because it's this. I'm putting on weight because I'm 49 years old and my metabolism slowed down and I don't have money. My finances are, well, here's what happened 3 years ago. I had this invest, went sour, and then I lost this. And I'm just, you hear my words? What about this? I had a good relationship, but then they messed up and they made me mad. And we're not friends. And we just, huh, my business was going so good 6 months ago, but this person didn't show up in my business enough to help my business out. And now it's struggling. Now it's on the back burner. Now it's losing volume. Now I'm not making as much money. Have you ever had those talks in your head? Surely not. Not you, Mr. Positivity or Miss Positivity, right? You're telling a story. You've had those thoughts, Dr. Bob, when you were a dentist and that one special person would walk in and you're like, woo, I get to see them today. You're like, right? Here's the thing. There's things in our life that it's just a moot point. I'm 49 years old. It's a moot point. Like I am what I am. I'm not as young as I was when I was 13. Okay. So I can spend my time thinking about the things that are a challenge at 49 that wasn't a challenge at 13, or I can just love my life at 49 and go flourish. And I'm talking to myself. I struggle with this. If I'm overweight right now, I can think to myself and have these conversations of, I can't believe, I'm so embarrassed, blah, 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 blah. Or I can go, you know what? That's a moot point. At this point in my life, I'm a little fluffy, but I'll tell you this, I'm going somewhere different. If I'm somebody that's sitting there going, at one point I had $2 million in the bank account and now I don't have two nickels to rub together, guess what? That's a moot point. It's a moot point to go, hey, it is what it is, but where are you going? What are you going to do about it? Like, where are you going to grow to? Okay. Does that make sense to you? It does to me. I could be sitting here right now and go, man, my business is not where I want it to be. And here's the reason. And I want to blame this person and that person. And it's all a moot point. Today, November the 22nd, you are where you're at, planted on this earth at this moment in time. What are we going to do today and in the future to make the proper changes we want to make in our health, in our finances, in our business, in our profession, in our relationships? Because can I learn from the past? Absolutely. But everything that's led up to today is a moot point. It is what it is. What am I going to do moving forward is really the only thing that matters. It's the only thing that matters. But would you agree that the little conversations between our ears we have holds us back? Absolutely, it holds us back. It holds us back. There's points in our life where we've swung for the fence and missed, and we're scared to swing for the fence again for fear of missing. I challenge you to go read Michael Jordan. It talks about, hey, I've won X amount of championships. I've made trillions of dollars. I've done all this, but you know what? I miss more shots than anyone. I have shot and missed and shot and missed and shot and lost the game and shot and lost the game. But you know what I did? I kept shooting. I kept swinging for the fence. And as humans, we got to swing for the fence. And we got to look at experience as wisdom. And everything is a moot point and the only thing that matters is swinging for the fence again, because that's living, that's thriving, that's growing, that's excelling, and that is living this life to the fullest. That for me today is my word around moot. So, Andrea, I'll turn it to you.
I don't know if I can follow that. Like you were on a roll there. So preach, coach, preach. That was powerful. So I actually agree with you this morning, shockingly.
Wow.
And so I know I went in the same direction. So I found kind of a silly quote. Okay. But I think you'll see. So the quote that I found was, the question of whether it was the chicken or the egg that came first is ultimately moot. What matters is that they both exist and sustain life. And I thought, okay, I don't quite get it, but I get it, because how many things in our life should we just treat as moot? Like, who cares if it was the chicken or the egg? I'm grateful that I have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? And that these little critters exist. I probably shouldn't just talk about them like they're food, but anyway, like, I'm so grateful for that. And how many things in our life should we treat as just something we'll never know? Doesn't matter. It's just moot in order to be happier, in order to be healthier, in order to be more successful, right? So that's what I looked into today. So first of all, we got to treat our past mistakes as moot. I can't change it. Like, I wish I could go back to yesterday and say something different, right? I wish I could go back to my high school years and spend less time in the principal's office, right? I wish that there are things that I could do differently, but I can't. So all I can do is pray that I learn the lesson so that I don't have to be taught it again, so that I catch it this time and move on, right? Just move on. Next, I've got to realize right there with it that dwelling on the past. And anybody else like to replay things where it just goes over and over? Like maybe you said something stupid. Has anybody else done this? Is this just me? Where I'm like, I cannot believe that I just said that to Machiko. Like, did I really just say that? And I'll just play it. It's like, okay, I can blush 4 more times about this, or I can just leave it in the past and move forward. Next things I got to treat as moot is other people's opinions. I love all y'all, but you don't pay my bills. Like I wish you'd come over. You can write a check. I'll let you anytime. Right? But that's not the way that this world works. So you've all seen kind of the Facebook or the social media post where it's like this empty room and it's like everybody in this room opinion matters. And that's it, right? So we've got to let go of other people's opinions because you know what? Not everybody's going to understand our path. It's not going to make sense that I do what I do to Lisa or Philip or Susan. Maybe it will, maybe to some of you. But what I have to focus on is what matters to me, right? What matters to Andrea. Next is those hypothetical worries. Anybody have those? I really like to play out worst case scenarios sometimes where I'm like, okay, if then, oh my gosh. And I can literally get myself in quite a tizzy over this imaginary scenario that I'm just borrowing trouble, right? So let those things go. Try not to worry about things that might never happen and maybe focus on the good things, right? They might not happen either, but at least it's going to fire me up and get me moving in the right direction. Next is those petty arguments. I feel like I've had a few of these before where it's over something really stupid. I tend to get into these with my son because he is always right. And guess what? So am I. And it's like, we're talking about if a V6 is better than a V8. I don't even know the difference. I don't know what the V or the 6 stands for, but I'm going to argue like my car's got a V6, so it better be dang good, right? I don't know. And we'll get into these silly little arguments where we both will kind of get a little irritated. It's like, wait a minute, none of this is important. I've got to prioritize harmony over being right. Like, do I want to be happy or do I want to be right? I want to be happy all day long. You be right, I'll be happy. We'll rock and roll, right? And then my comparison to others, let that go. Because Marlene is on a completely different journey than me. And so is Chris, and so is Eric. And when I sit there and I look at their highlight reel and I look at my mirror, right? And I go, oh, I don't measure up. I'm not doing what they're doing. I don't look like how they look. I don't do whatever it may be. And I can really hinder myself with that comparison. But if I make that move and I realize that all of our paths are unique and my path, I'm on the path I'm supposed to be on, and I focus on my growth and my progress and my learning and all of that, well, then I can go be happy and I can go be successful and I can go create more because I let that go. So I thought this was a good one. Good word today, Coach. I appreciate it. Hopefully you guys got some value.
I got to take credit. I picked the word this morning to end the week. Okay.
Good
That's
job,
why I was so
Coach.
passionate about it. So I'm worried about the whole V6, V8 thing. So Bill Saling or John Frick, if you could reach out to Andrea, talk to her about the V6 versus the V8. It's important in life, okay, that we know
Okay.
these things. So,
Well, Chase told me all about it. I still don't get it.
or Brenda Carlton, since she's a John Deere lover. So Brenda could probably tell you about it too. So guys, we love you. We appreciate you. This is fun. This group is fun to be a part of each and every day. So have a great weekend out there. We'll see you back tomorrow.
God bless
you
you.
guys. Monday.
Thank
Great
you.
weekend.
Have a bunch of awesome
God bless
messages.
you.